Good evening and welcome to the May 23rd, 2022 school board meeting. Will you all please rise while we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. Has the meeting been properly posted according to Wisconsin Statute 19.84? Yep. This meeting is being held at the Community Education and Rec Center, West 152 North 8645 Margaret Road. This meeting is available for live viewing on the Falls Cable YouTube channel. A link to that channel is available on the board meeting webpage. A later viewing will be available on our board website page. This is a regular meeting of the school board. Before we get started, I would like to introduce everyone at the board table. To my far left are student school board members. There she is, Ava Sardina and Sahil Shah. Then we have, actually Chris Stuland is going to be joining us a little bit later. She just called me, said she was running a little behind schedule. Then we have Jennifer Grant, our board treasurer to my left, Carrie Deuce, board member to her left. Then to my right, Corey Gala. Then Nina Christensen, vice president, Melinda McShane, Shelley Holzman, our clerk, and sitting at the table is our head of HR, Leah School. Thank you. So we're going to start out tonight with our finest, and now that Ava's here, we're going to start out with our student members. So I believe this is your last meeting with us this year, correct? You guys are winding down and getting ready to end the school year. So I just wanted to take a minute and just thank both of you for your service and for your time. I know sometimes these meetings get a little late, and it's great to have you guys here. Sahil, I know you're moving on, so I'm going to miss your athletic reports, which means I'm just going to have to pay more attention myself in the interim to what's going on. And Ava, you have one more year left, right? Okay, so again, I just wanted to just give a shout out to you guys. Really appreciate everything that you do. I appreciate the feedback that we get from you. That's what's happening, in our schools. Being students, you guys are a little bit more in tune to that than a lot of the parents and grown-ups are. So we really appreciate that, and thank you for your service. If there's any other comments that any of the other board members would like to make, now would be the time to Sahil and Ava. Okay, all good. Next, we're going to go to this, or did you want to skip over that?
Yep, no, we're now going to our staff retirements and distinguished employees. So I have a little bit
Perfect. So I just want to thank all of our staff for joining us and to be recognized this evening. And the building administrators will be introducing each retiree from the building. So thank you.
I will do retirees first. All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, board members. I will be our master of ceremonies here, and then at the end I will present the retirements of two administrators as well. So at this point, I'd like to invite Tino Poznanski up. She will be introducing the retirees from Ben Franklin as well as Valley View Elementary. Principal Aaron White is absent this evening, but Ms. Poznanski spent considerable years with all of those retirees also, so I'll turn it over to them.
All right, I am going to start off with Jill Ladwig. Jill, could you please come on up? So Jill has been an educational assistant for 22 years, with 17 of them in the school district of Menomonee Falls. I have had the honor to work with Jill for many years at Valley View. Jill always thinks of others and is continuously looking for ways to build that caring, collaborative culture within the school and to make everyone around her to feel very special. She's willing to go above and beyond and help out in any way that she can throughout the building, especially if it's to benefit a student. So Jill has helped to make Valley View the special place that it is. We wish you the best of luck. We love you, and we will miss you dearly.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed my time, all my years here from day one. I want to thank the school board. I want to thank the district. I want to thank Human Resources. I want to thank, especially a shout out to Tina Poznansky. She has been principal with me for most of my years, and she knows me very, very well. There's been many, many things in my personal life that may have been a deterrent, but Tina's philosophy of putting family first has really lifted me up in so many ways, and we have just, I feel like we've just had a wonderful working relationship, so I really appreciate that time. I also want to say thank you to the PTO at Valley View. I think they have done a wonderful job, and I really appreciate them, and I think that they need to be lifted up. This last year has been difficult. I have not been working. I've been on a medical disability, FMLA, and then I had to go on to a disability for a major medical condition. So I want to thank the district for that. I want to thank specifically Melissa Beck, who has been incredible, and I really feel like kudos to her. She's been compassionate, she's been thorough, she's timely. So is she here tonight? Because if not, I definitely would want to lift her up. She's been really, really beneficial for me this last year. So I wanted to thank you for the time, and I enjoyed every moment of it. Thanks.
Thank you, Jill. Sue Lee. So Sue has been in Menomonee Falls for the past 35 years, and I've had the honor to work very closely with Sue for the past 12 years, and I have learned so much from her. She is a role model as a professional and as just a human being. She inspires all of us to be the best that we can be. She has high expectations for herself and everyone around her. And because of this, we are all educators. Many times we'll be sitting in meetings and Sue will ask us deep questions just to keep us thinking and always trying to improve. She's very student-centered and does everything she can to remove roadblocks to help every child succeed. Sue's impact in Menomonee Falls will be felt for many, many, many years. We wish you the best of luck in your next journey. We love you as well, and we'll miss you dearly.
All right, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. It's been a wonderful journey. The people have been amazing. It keeps you coming back every single day. The students are amazing. The work is incredible, and it's super hard. My parents taught me that when you go someplace or you borrow something, that you always give it back or you leave it better than you got it. I believe that I've done that. It's up to you now. Lead well. Take care of our children. I'm going to leave you here. Thank you.
All right, at this point I'll call up Brad Hoffman to introduce the retirees from Shady Lane Elementary School.
Evening. I have 3 retirees tonight, and this night is always a little bittersweet. You're really excited for people to move on to the next chapter, but also very, very difficult to lose wonderful people who have made such an impact. So I've got 3. We'll start one at a time. Betsy Manasseh, come up. So So Betsy's been an educational assistant in our district for 11 years, I believe 5 of the last.
15 total.
Did some subbing.
In
Yeah.
all the schools.
And started as a parent at Shady Lane before that, and then subbing, and then as an educational assistant in the last 5 at Shady Lane. Betsy's love for kids and for colleagues is evident. She's always working hard to support kids, getting them what they want, building relationships with them, and supporting her colleagues. Her years have been great with Shady Lane and the Falls, and her impact is felt. And there are so many people that know how clear it is that Betsy cares deeply about her kids and has developed great relationships, and will definitely be missed. But congratulations on your next step in your journey.
I wanted to thank Brad for being a wonderful principal, for always being there for all of us staff at Shady Lane. It's just an amazing school. Our daughter went there, and I love the school. I love all the schools. I've mentioned I've worked in all of them. My position as a substitute teacher in EA started as a calling. I was older, and I just felt like this is something I really wanted to do, give back to the community, and I've been given so much in the meantime too. I've learned so much more about education. I was in education before, teaching adults, and when I started in 4K, I never would have thought that I'd be a 4K EA teacher. So grateful for all my teaching experiences with the students in our school district. I'm also incredibly grateful to work with so many wonderful, dedicated teachers. It is a tough job being a teacher and an education assistant. I mentioned our daughter. I'm very grateful for the good education she and her future son-in-law had here. I just plan to enjoy more time at her cottage up north, travel more, have more projects at home, and possibly subbing down the road. So I wanted to thank our board and all our volunteers. It's been an amazing ride for me, and I'm very grateful for all of it. Thank you.
All right, then how about Debbie Burke? Come on up. So I hesitate to say the years, because when it's been so many, the math gets a little fuzzy. But my intel tells me Debbie's been teaching for 41 years. Is that right? Yes. And the last 30 of those at Shady Lane. Kansas City before that, I believe, right?
Correct.
Other places?
A couple small towns in Wisconsin earlier.
Well, then we got lucky to land her long ago at Shady Lane. And she spent many of those as a second grade teacher, and the last many as a reading interventionist and coach. And Debbie's impact is wide and it is deep, from all of the students she had in her second grade classroom to the students that she helped learn to read, and all of the staff who had the benefit of learning from her coaching, and then of course the kids who were impacted by that. You can't start to count. I thought about trying to count to get an estimate of however many hundreds of those were, and I wouldn't do it justice. It's endless. Debbie is a teacher that is who she is. She is there to be with kids and working with colleagues every single day. I'll let her speak for herself, but I know that this was not necessarily an easy decision. I know there's a lot that she's going to miss about school, but there's so much we are going to miss about Debbie. I've been at Shady Lane for 20 years. Every one of those years, Debbie's been there. She is a leader in our building, and when I was a classroom teacher and she was, we were on leadership teams together, and I was a principal, as a coach. We worked very, very closely. Probably closer than Debbie would prefer to have to work with me, but her impact is so great on me professionally and personally as well. She's definitely it's going to be hard to be at Shady Lane without Debbie next year, but I'm really, really happy for you. And if you have ideas for hobbies, it turns out she needs one, so I don't know, but congratulations, Debbie.
41 years doing what I love. It was a great run, what can I say? Well, I student taught in first grade, and from the student teaching experience, I knew that I wanted to work with little kids and helping them to grow as readers. So my first job interview that I went on, I interviewed for a first grade position, and I was told that they really wanted somebody with experience for first grade, but they had a fourth grade opening. And if I took that, they'd guarantee me a primary grade the next year, because that added first grade would be going to second grade. So that's what I did. That was in the Cambria-Friesland School District. I was the fourth grade teacher that year. From there, a short stint in Waiwega, and then we were in Kansas City. But during those years, from that time on, and then until I came to Shady Lane 30 years ago, I taught for 25 of those years first and second graders. So back and forth between the two grades, mostly second grade at Shady Lane, 1 year of first grade. But needless to say, I have taught and worked with countless readers who just get it because no matter what you do, they're going to get it. But readers who have really struggled and strive to get better, and it's just kind of been my passion throughout my career. I eventually went on to my master's, my reading teacher's license, and as Brad said, in the last 15 years I've been working as an interventionist and coach. I appreciate all the support that I've gotten from everyone from the board to our amazing administration team, both at Shady Lane and across the district, who are constantly nudging us to grow as leaders in our craft. I also will definitely be blessed. I've been blessed and will definitely miss those little guys that I work with. You know, Shady Lane this time of year is just kind of bouncing. If you walk through the buildings, there's all this energy going on. I'm going to miss that. And most of all, I'm going to miss my colleagues. They are hardworking, dedicated people, and I think that's what I'm going to miss most of all. So I've said I'm going to take a year before I volunteer because I want to figure out who Debbie Burke is when she isn't teaching. But we'll see. I may be back before then. Thank you.
We can help you figure that out, Debbie. I got stuff for you. So speaking of dedicated, wonderful colleagues, Molly Paulus, come on. I'm going to try with the math again. We'll see. My intel tells me 34 years, 32 here in the Falls.
Correct.
Wow. Maybe it's not so hard. So Molly she was at Shady Lane when I started years ago. She's been to many buildings. I believe you started at Riverside, right, teaching? But she has, what? North, that's all over the place. But I care most about the time she was at Shady Lane. And she, like Debbie in coaching and like Sue before this, her impact is huge. And all of the professionals, the teachers she has coached and helped to support kids. She's done amazing work with kids, but with staff as well. Always there to help answer questions, always there to nudge, always there to ask the questions that move people's practices to the next level. I don't think she has the problem with the hobby. I've already heard her talking about golf lessons, so I don't know if Debbie wants to join her there. But this is another, like I said, just really bittersweet and excited for Molly in this next stage. She, like Betsy, also was at Shady Lane as a parent, so we had the privilege of having her daughters at Shady Lane as well. But it's tough to lose really good people, but it's great to do that in a wonderful way. She gets to spend some more time with her family and doing what she loves. And I'm confident that you'll find your way back to Shady Lane. I think Debbie and Betsy too, to sell or to volunteer, because we'll take you back any day. But congratulations.
It has been a great ride. I've loved working here. My kids went through the school district. I'm looking forward to doing other things, but I think I will be back too. So thank you.
And now to round out our elementary retirees, Scott Walter, principal from Riverside Elementary.
Good evening. I'm actually going to start with talking about Molly again, because we share a little bit of Molly at Riverside. She's there 2 days a week, so I would be remiss not to mention anything about her, but I actually learned a lot from Molly my first year. I stuck for her quite a bit when I was building stuff at Riverside, so it took a lot from her there personally. But just Molly's always been someone who's had really strong instructional practices even before she was a coach, very creative. And then when she started this coaching the last couple of years, She's always been about an improvement mindset, but really led our school through a lot of improvements, whether that be in student learning binders, the PDSA cycles, our own collaborative support team process, which is how we get together regularly as grade levels and problem solve around kids. She really helped us improve that process. But I think most of all, and Molly has always been the utmost professional, has always had a huge impact, but I think the biggest thing that stands out to me is probably about 2 years ago, a day that she will probably remember, and Todd probably remembers it very vividly. This COVID thing hit, and we needed a third grade teacher because we had kids virtual, we had kids in person, and the kids were all over the place. And so Molly hadn't been in the classroom, like she's of course in classrooms, but hasn't been a classroom teacher for quite a while. And with the utmost professionalism, she said, I'll do it. I'll teach third grade at Riverside. And it was a phenomenal, phenomenal semester for those kids. For Molly, I think, and she really brought back last year when she came back to her learning improvement specialist role, brought back a lot of what she learned. It's always good to set foot in the classroom again. Brought back a lot of what she learned to her role as a coach. But she did it without blinking an eye. And I know there's new resources, there's obviously new techniques and things, but Molly is almost professional taking that on. And I know there were some hard nights, but I can't say enough about her professionalism and just how she's led others. So thank you again to Molly.
Thank you, Scott.
Denise Crawl. Come on up. So this is cool. None of these people like me in the spotlight, so this is great. This is great. So at Riverside, including Molly, we are losing about 112 years of experience, which is kind of crazy when I added it up. I think it was yesterday at home I was doing it. It's just phenomenal. But Denise is our health room assistant and just much, much more than a health room assistant. She's always made the health room just a safe place for kids, a loving place for kids. Obviously, when kids come to the health room, we have tears, we have parents sending phone calls. Denise is, again, the most professional in terms of communicating, making sure the kids feel safe, communicating with parents. I'll be very honest and blunt that our health room probably wasn't in the best shape when Denise took over years and years ago. She completely reorganized things, and really it is a smooth running machine because of Denise. And then this thing called COVID hit, and it kind of flipped our health rooms upside down for a little bit in terms of not knowing what to expect and in terms of following all the protocols, the contact tracing and whatnot. And Denise just handled all of that. And you and I'm sure there were nights, too, that she was maybe rattled, but honestly didn't show it. We've been a smooth running machine because of Denise, and there's been so much communication that has had to happen because of that. And she's really just, I think what's going to be missed most, all the stuff she does for kids and parents, but she's really a quiet cheerleader behind the scenes of other staff members. And really, not only do kids come into health room and when they're hurt, but adults do too. And Denise is a good sounding board for adults, I know too, and I know they're going to miss that too. So thank you, Denise, for all you've done.
Well, it's true. I like to be in my little corner with the kids and just loving on the kids. But I am so grateful for having this last 12 years, full time in the health room. I subbed a lot before that, and I learned so much from the staff I work with. They're hardworking, they're caring. I just feel like I'm a better person because I've worked with them. And Scott's been an amazing support person for me and kept me there because he's wonderful to work with. So thank you all. Thanks for all these years.
And Bonnie really loves the spotlight. So Bonnie Snuggs was our head kitchen supervisor for quite some time. I didn't do the years, I'm sorry, but I depended on Bonnie so much. As just a right-hand person, you depend on your secretary, your head custodian, your health room, and your head kitchen. Bonnie is just phenomenal in terms of, I'll say the same things about the cafeteria as I would about the health room, but obviously the cafeteria has to be kind of an unstructured place where kids are having fun, they're getting a nutritious meal. That happened every single day under Bonnie's watch, and she went above and beyond making sure there's all kinds of events going on that require food or field trips or those types of organizational things. Bonnie is always taken care of. She always, whenever there was a student situation, kind of a confidential situation with meals and things, Bonnie would always make sure those needs were met and there was no embarrassment, things like that. She really, really, I know it's a cliche, but really, really did everything for kids. She was always willing to try new things. You know, years and years ago, we won the State Health Award many years, and that involved many initiatives in the cafeteria, such as Fear Factor. We won't mention that. But Bonnie was always trying different initiatives in the cafeteria to get kids to eat nutritiously. It's always been a tight group of our educational assistants, cafeteria staff, and our custodial staff kind of as one, because they work very, very tightly during the day. Bonnie definitely headed that up, and they looked to Bonnie for support. And just people love working with Bonnie and not for Bonnie. You would never ever hear the people in the kitchen say that we work for Bonnie. It's always working with Bonnie because of the way that she always rolled up her sleeves and worked right alongside with them. So I appreciate everything that Bonnie always did. Thank you.
I really did enjoy my years of working. I always strive to have lunchtime be the most fun part of their day. So I strive for that. So I am now going to spend time with family and friends and enjoy it.
And Gail Dreyer. Years, and I learned a lot from Gail as well in those 40 years, and even again with Molly too. I'll make the same comment. My first year of regular ed teaching when I had a job was across the hall from Gail when she was teaching 3rd grade. So just observing her, the very first thing you would notice, and that hasn't changed since the first time I observed her, is high expectations. And when we all want a teacher that has extremely high expectations for kids, and I think sometimes there's a misnomer that you see a high expectation classroom, you see a structured classroom, and you think other things, but that social emotional side in Gail is there as well in terms of the way that she cared for kids. What other people don't see a lot, and I saw, is those one-on-one conversations that she had. If a kid made a poor choice, was sent to the office, the first thing Gail would do when they came back to the room is have that one-on-one conversation. If we moved her up to, I made the decision to move her up to 5th grade this year, maybe. And the first thing Gail said to me is, whatever you want, maybe not my first choice, but whatever you need me to do, I'll teach. I don't know if that would have included 10th grade biology, but I think that's a tribute to Gail. And so part of what comes with 5th grade is as kids get older, there's maybe a little bit more drama, or maybe some more issues going on. Kids are changing, bodies are changing. One of the things that was really neat too is, and knowing that Gail has this one-on-one conversations with kids and the way she pulls kids aside is watching her, have those conversations with girls and boys as they're changing and growing, and the way that she cares for them. Very data-based. Gail used MAP. We've done MAP testing for a long time in this district. Gail used MAP like nobody's business. The way that she tore apart those scores, and other people could really learn a lot. I did learn a lot from her in the way that she differentiated for kids with that. School-wide, and her impact was beyond the classroom, obviously. She had a school-wide impact in terms of, she always had ideas to do things better, and I always did want to hear them. I know sometimes she thinks that I didn't want to hear them, but I always wanted to hear her ideas. There were a lot of events in the background that, I'll give you an example. So August is going to be around the corner in a few months, and we always have our back-to-school registration fairs, and that's something that I don't typically expect staff to show up at in terms of regular classroom teachers. Gail is always there. Gail will always come in early August, and she'll be right back there when I come back, when the secretary comes back. What do you need help with? What do we need? What do we need for the back-to-school fair? And she would always be sitting at a table welcoming parents that very first space when they walked back in that very first day in August. All things bus-related, school-wide, had an impact there. Very quiet person, school-wide, but powerful person. And it just, I won't mention anything about front-end estimation. We'll leave that for the staff retired speech. But Gail always left, when I was building subs, she always left me the worst lesson to teach, and I swear I taught it 17 times, but it's for another day. But congratulations to Gail. She is truly going to be missed, not only in the classroom, but school-wide as well. Very happy for Gail.
Thank you. I'm going to make this short. I'm
The decision to retire was kind of immediate, but I knew when I made it, it was time to go. I'm gonna spend time with family and friends. I enjoyed my 40 years here, but I'm hoping to enjoy my retirement. Thank you.
And at this point, I'll bring up Dan Gabauer, current principal at North Middle School, to introduce his retiree.
Our one retiree this year at North is Ellen Keith. Ellen Keith was with us for the last 4 years, but before that, she organized trade shows. And I tell you, organizing trade shows and coming in and organizing a middle school, there's a lot of similarities. So Ellen's one of those people, though, that she does things before you need them done, or I even know that I need them done. She predicts, she completes things, she pitches in to help everywhere. We need somebody at lunch, she's there. We need somebody in the study hall, she's there. We need somebody at recess, she's there. I found out that she's actually a lifeguard too, so during some of the swimming lessons, she was down lifeguarding too. I couldn't believe that actually, but she just is a jack of all trades, and is just one of those people that you know, like if you give her something, she will do it, and she'll do it to the nines. Project manager. She took our concept of getting TVs and a sound system in our cafeteria to make it more of a multi-purpose area, and she did all the project management on those pieces and brought it to fruition. Without her help on those pieces, it would have never happened. She's just also someone who listens. As principal and as Ellen's got her desk about 6 feet away from me. She's the first person I go to on just about everything to talk about. And I've enjoyed every conversation I've had with her for the last 3 years, and it's going to be really difficult to imagine not working with her in the future. But Ellen is also someone who's also very modest, does not want to be in the limelight, but I'm glad she's got this opportunity to talk to you today. Ellen Keith.
First of all, I want to say he's a great principal, and I'm going to miss not seeing him every day. And so it's totally mutual. During retirement, our kids live all over the country, so we're going to be traveling to see the kids and spend some time with them. This is not my first career since I was in trade shows for 30 years. And anyone who listens to me, I'll say, I wish I would have found this sooner, and been here longer. But it's time to retire. Just my husband's retired. We're just going to spend a lot of time together. I'm going to miss the staff. I'm going to miss the kids. But I already have the admin assistants at North booking me for something. So it won't be that long. So anyway, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
And now I'll introduce Bob Vitale, our current principal at the high school, to come up and introduce his retiree.
Brad said I have to make this quick. The first individual that I have on the list is Pam Baldus, but I don't think Pam is. But I do want to give Pam her kudos here. So Pam was one of our special ed EAs. She was hired in October 8th, 2013. She worked 8 years in the district. Began as a special educational assistant. Pam then moved into our 18 to 21-year-old young adult service program. Pam had a heart of gold, cared deeply for all students, and believed all students can learn, built strong relationships, and worked very well with Mr. Rutke. I could always count on Pam. Pam would go that extra mile, and Pam was a rock star, and she was extremely loyal. So Pam Baldus. Carla Casau. They have no idea. All right, Carla was hired in January 21st of 1999. Yeah, both of us. Has worked in the district for 23 years. Carla began as a special ed EA also from 1999 through 2011. Carla then worked 1 year in our ISP program with Mr. Frederick and Mr. Shramka. And then Carla moved to the library where she has worked from 2012 to the present. Carla is our longtime bowling coach here at MFHS from 1999 till the present. Carla was also the TAB, which is the Teen Advisory Board co-advisor from 2020 to 2022. Carla is another EA who made strong relationships with students. She worked well with all students and again believed all students can learn. Again, you're going to hear the same message with all these people. I could always count on Carla. Carla would go that extra mile, and Carla too was a rock star and extremely loyal. So Carla Casau.
Well, it's been a quick ride, I'll say. 22 years is over. So it's been a pleasure. I wish I was still going to stay another couple of years, but time to go. So thanks, everybody. That's it.
Jim Mcmahon. Jim was hired on August 27th, 2002, and has been with us for 20 years. Jim has been a part of MFHS Science Department that is extremely strong. Jim has taught AP Environmental Science, Honors and Regular Earth Science, Physical Science, Summer Academy Biology, Earth Science, and Physical Science. Jim also coached football. He was our head wrestling coach, and most importantly, our powder puff coach. What's that? We won't say that. Jim also leads our geography club. Jim was a teacher that, again, had strong relationships with his students. Jim welcomed all students into his room and knew all students could learn, some differently than others, which is why Jim was successful with all kids. Jim cares deeply for his students, and Jim is the ultimate team player. Again, I can always count on Jim, and Jim would go that extra mile. Again, another rock star and an extremely loyal person to work with. Jim McMahon.
Thank you very much. The last 20 years have been great for my family. Both my kids are graduates of Menomonee Falls High School. The school district has allowed me the opportunity to grow and develop as a teacher, coach, and it's just been a wonderful place to raise a family. Thank you.
Tom Shannon. All right, T was hired August 23rd, 1993. 29 years ago, the school had just opened. Tom has been a part of the MFHS English department, and Tom has taught novel and film, English 10 and 12, media production 1, 2, and 3, creative writing, journalism, yearbook, and began Good Morning Falls from 2001 to 2016, and it has come back this past year. And Tom is a very important piece to our English department, again, a very strong department in our building. Tom is also our track and field coach for 28 years, boys head coach from 1998 to 2005. Girls head coach from 2018-2019. Boys cross country 20 years, 2002 to 2022. And the head coach from 2011 to 2020. Girls cross country for 9 years, 2014 to 2022. Head coach 8 of those years. Tom was a teacher. Once again, you're going to keep hearing the same thing over and over, but this is why these people are so successful. Tom was a teacher that had strong relationships with his students. Tom welcomed all students into his room and knew all students could learn, some differently than others. Kids were always welcomed in Tom's room. Tom cared deeply for all of his students. Tom, again, was an ultimate team player. I could always count on Tom, and Tom would always go that extra mile. And again, another rock star and a very loyal employee. I did not do his one negative. He's a Bears fan, so.
Thank you, appreciate it. This district is the only district I've ever worked for, Menomonee Falls. It's meant a lot to our family. My kids went to school at Valley View and TJ at North and then high school, so it's been a good one. But you know it's kind of time to go when one of the staff, when your school board member is one of my students. It's time. I appreciate the kind words from Bob. I also, two things I wanted to say is, quickly, I got hired by Dick Wozencraft in the 90s. Great principal, and I won't finish in with a great principal in Bob Vitale, so thank you.
Last but not least, Mary Zencraft. Mary was hired October 3rd, 1986. She has devoted 36 years to this district. She started at district office, then moved to the MFHS library, back to district office, and then came to the high school in 2010, where she became the principal admin. What were some of Mary's duties? All of mine plus hers. Just a couple. Budget, ordering, anything that needed to be done in that office. She began RevTrack, which is a pay system using credit cards, which has been an absolute godsend for our high school and has really made things efficient when it comes to bill collecting, field trips, dances, and all that. Mary was a big getting us going on that piece. What else? Graduation, award night, scholarship night, fees, but most importantly, keeping me in line, along with the many other duties that she had. Mary is extremely hardworking. She is devoted. She runs a tight ship. There's only one other woman in my life that runs a tighter ship, and that is my wife. Both of them keep me in line when it comes to finances. She would give me the green or the red light when it came to ordering things and purchasing things. And an unbelievable team player, extremely loyal, and another rock star. So Mary Zencraft.
Thank you. It's been a long road, and I enjoyed every 36 years, or all 36 years. I really enjoyed working at the high school, and working with Bob Vitale. He is awesome. I came every day just I loved what I was doing, and could have retired a little earlier, but I hung in there because I really liked what I was doing and the people I worked with, the staff, the teachers are awesome. It's an awesome high school. I'll miss it, but it's time for me to go. Thank you very much.
In closing, I cannot say enough about each of these individuals. They are just great people. Made coming to work extremely enjoyable, and I wish you guys all the best and enjoy your retirement.
I will share one story about Mary Zencraft. When I was left the principal position to move to district office, it was within days of my departure that Mary reached out to me and said, "We need your keys." I said, "I like when you were doing that for me rather than to me." Due diligence for sure. At this point, I'll call up Stacy Clem to introduce one of our district level retirees.
So I will be introducing Donna Burhop. She's one of our district nurses. Donna, if you could come up. So Donna, I'll wait till she gets up here. So sometimes in the district, some of our most valuable employees are those who are new to us, and Donna has been with us for just 2 years now. And I would say she's one of our most valuable employees because the last 2 years she came to help out during the pandemic, but then also to help us when we had someone who was with us for a really, really long time leave us because she wanted to go to be a student-specific nurse. So Donna helped fill in, and Donna's really, really good about asking me questions like, why are we doing that? So with Donna's help and with her diligence, we've really gotten really tight systems in place in our nursing. She's really made sure we've had tight protocols to make sure when things are happening with students, everybody's working really consistently. We're communicating with families. So Donna's been just a joy to work with. And she did say when she was retiring, she wishes she would have found school sooner. And she's really made an impact on us. And I'm really thankful for the time that I had with Donna. So, yeah.
Thank you. Although it's been short, it's been a real big learning experience. I have been a nurse, pediatrics mainly, for 36 years. So as she said, I kind of wish maybe I'd come to the school system sooner, but I certainly had a great time in the other years I worked. So I do think Menomonee Falls is an excellent schools district, and the staff have been very welcoming and supportive, and I certainly learned a lot living through COVID as a nurse for your school district, and I hope the best for you all futuristically. Thank you.
And now I have the pleasure of recognizing two of our retiring administrators. So if I could welcome up to the podium Bob Vitale. Bob Vitale. So I just want to first recognize Bob's 32 years in education. How many is that here in Menomonee Falls? 24. And I confirmed this with Bob when I saw his dad come. Bob is a second generation principal, and I know that means a lot to Bob that he had that position. And I'll also just put a plug in that I know at least one of Bob's kids are here, and educators as well, so maybe we'll have a third generation. But Bob was a physical education teacher, a coach, an associate principal, and of course our principal now. He is and exemplifies in every way servant leadership. He does and always has done what needs to be done. No job is too big or too small. He'll make the tough decisions, he'll do the big things. But if you spend any time in the high school, you'll regularly see Bob helping out in the lunchroom, picking up trash. He cares about everything, and all of those things are noticed by the people he works with, that they recognize that he's just there for kids. He's there to make that a great place to learn and to work. Bob cares like no one I've ever worked with. He cares for his people. This includes students and colleagues. Just some of the individual things I've seen him do or know him doing: calling local businesses to try to help a student get a job, securing rides for students who may not have rides to get where they need to be, taken personal interest in student pathways. So we talk about a pathway for all students. We develop programs for students, but Bob takes that all the way to the detail of working individually with kids. I expect that he knows all of his seniors, knows their pathway. I just know being in there the other day for the pennant signing, he just knows where those students are heading. Remembering birthdays for colleagues. When he was the associate principal and I was the principal, Bob was the one in our office who always remembered everybody's birthday, who made sure that we were recognizing their birthday. Cooking for his staff. Regularly at the beginning of the year, the end of the year, he'll be out at the grill making sure he will do anything. He shows care. When Bob came to me in the fall to share his plans to retire, he said, "I'm tired." And he should be. He's given completely of himself for his entire career. He leaves a legacy of care, pathways for kids. The academies have grown. GPS is an opportunity for kids. Quest is a richer, more rigorous opportunity for kids than ever before. I could go on and on. He makes sure that we have pathways. The Challenge Academy. Bob would regularly travel up there to visit students who are at the Challenge Academy, go to their graduation. He cared for all of his kids. He leaves behind him a high school known across the state as one of the best in Wisconsin. Great friend. Congratulations.
Thank you. First of all, I have to recognize some people that I have here tonight. Number one, like Corey said, my mom and dad are here. So if you guys stand up, please. That might take a little bit. So my dad was in education his whole life, and my mother was an admin assistant, and she taught me that don't you ever treat those admin assistants wrongly. Because they are your right hand, and they will do everything for you. So, Mom, thank you, and I think all the admins would thank you too. When I graduated from high school, I wanted no part of education. I did not want to be a teacher. I wanted to go into business because I wanted to make all this money. And did not want to follow in my father's footsteps because he is a legend out in Waukesha. But I'm glad I made the change that I made because he has been there through thick and thin, and he's always allowed me to bounce ideas off of him. So Dad, thank you very much. Both my kids are here tonight, Nick and Anna. You guys stand up, please. Nick is our oldest, and Nick is a teacher. There is absolutely no pressure in the Vitale house to be in education, but he is an outstanding teacher, and his wife is a teacher, and she is going through her master's program right now, so she's at class tonight. And they are expecting their first, so I'm going to be a grandpa next month. So, my man, so proud of you. And my daughter is a special ed teacher, and now I am going to talk like a very, very proud dad. I have two unbelievable teachers. But what Anna does every day with those special ed kids, number one, she makes me laugh with the text messages that I receive during the day. And then I send her some crazy things that happen at the high school so we can balance each other out. But so very, very proud of my kids. The most important person is my wife. Amy, please stand up. You cannot do this job unless you have support. And you have to have a wife, in my sense, that knows I am not going to be home, knows that it's going to be late nights, and understands the job, understood the job when I was teaching and coaching, and that there aren't enough words to explain how much I love you and thank you for all your support. And thank you to this district. When I came here 24 years ago, this was the best move I have ever made in my career. And so for all the support from the board, all the support that came from Corey, from Pat, from Keith, Marty, I just cannot thank you guys enough for making my life and what I do, what I love to do is to be with kids. So that is one thing I'm going to miss, is being with the kids. But the rest of it, I think I can, we'll just hold back. So thank you.
To join me at the podium. Another dear friend of mine, and Jeff, 40 years in education, about 12 here in the district, is that right? 11 or 12. Jeff began in special education and continued into leadership roles into tech integration and technology. And if you think about it, over the course of 40 years, how much has changed in the world of technology. Jeff, also like Bob, exemplifies service, and no job is too small for Jeff, and his team loves that about him. That he is a big strategic thinker. He has a position where he has to oversee things across the district, but he will go wherever the problems are. He'll do whatever needs to be done to work. Even today, with Kim being out and Amy being out, Bob was helping with making sure our technology was set up, making sure we were able to work in this venue, making sure we're able to cast out, making sure we were connected with balls, all of those things. That's just the nature of what Jeff does. He just recognizes what needs to be done. He remains on the cutting edge of technology all the way to the end of his career, where even in these final weeks, he is learning and preparing his team and making sure that the district is prepared for cybersecurity risks, which are now, as we all know, one of the biggest risks, that one of the biggest liabilities that we have. He just continues to learn. He will continue until that last day in our district to be on the cutting edge. He's overseeing because while he's Director of Technology now, he was until very recently Director of Technology and Assessment. And if you think about how assessment has changed over 40 years, so his jobs, both of his jobs were expanding, and Jeff was always on the cutting edge and continues to be on the cutting edge of how can we use student results to help students in the classroom. That it wasn't about student results for accountability, it was about student results for learning so that we could get the information to the teachers. He was the first and remains our deepest practitioner of continuous improvement. He's a black belt in lean. He was among the first on that team along with Dr. Greco. In fact, he came here with Dr. Greco to bring those ideas. And he's so incredibly, in all of those roles, so incredibly pragmatic in how you can apply what he knows to make a difference for students. In all areas, he's a leader, and he has that intense pragmatism. So we all know what we had to do to teach kids in that hybrid model, but not everyone knows what was done behind the scenes to prepare that model, where a teacher, if we had told teachers, and we have many in the room, 5 years ago, that you're going to need to teach students in front of you while you're also teaching students at home, and we want those students to be able to interact with the teacher and one another. Jeff set up a model in our library in the summer with one of his techs serving as a teacher, one of his techs serving as a student in the classroom, his daughter Lily serving as a student at home, and he created a model in that library and invited teachers to come in, test it, try it, give it feedback, and by the time we opened the doors in September, we were ready to do that, and that was really a gift of Jeff and his leadership. I've learned more from Jeff than anyone I've ever worked with. Just an incredibly brilliant, driven, gifted man, and we'll really miss him in this district, so congratulations, Jeff.
Thanks, Corey. I'd like to express my thanks to the board for the opportunity to serve in the district. I've been fortunate to be able to work with such talented people who shared my passion for educating our children and for continuous improvement. I'd like to thank Superintendent Gala for his exceptional leadership, his educational expertise and compassion for others, his high expectations, and his friendship as well. Corey made me a better educator and a better person because of it. I'd like to thank all the members of our leadership team and our district office staff who were ever thoughtful and diligent for their work to improve student learning. Especially I'd like to thank the members of the instructional team that I was part of, Dr. Casey Lahoviak, Stacy Clem, and Susie Thomas. Our team worked hard each day and every day to serve the students and the teachers. We worked very closely together, we laughed together, we cried together, and I always cherished our time. Of course, I'd like to thank our technology team, John, Katie, Kara, Mark, Cody, and Jason. What an amazing group of people who have demonstrated great technical ability over the years and exceptional customer service. In my 40 years in education, this has been the technology team that I not only enjoyed working with the most, but also they perform their duties the best on behalf of our students and staff. I'm proud to work with this team. Finally, I'd like to thank my wife, Kathy, for being so gracious for all the times away from our family. I'll try to make up for it and know that I appreciate it so much. So thank you all. I'll never forget my time here in Menomonee Falls, and I wish you only the best. Thank you.
At this point, we have a long-standing tradition. If all of our retirees could open their gift, there's a school bell in there. We'd like to invite you up for the obligatory ringing of the school bell as you end your time with us. Come on up, we'll have you. It's going to make a racket, don't be shy about it. Just bring them on up. Line everyone up here at the front. Get up here, you go here. What is this, church? And on the count of three, we'll ask everyone to just ring it away, okay? So this is your swan song. So 1, 2, 3. Awesome, thank you. Thanks everyone. Congratulations to all of you. As they're seated, we have one more group we want to recognize, and then we'll have our robotics team, and then we will take an intermission and let people sneak out if they don't want to stay for the business part of the meeting.
Corey, one second. I just, I'd be remiss if I didn't say something here. I just truly want to thank each and every one of our retirees on behalf of myself and the board. You guys are the ones that have worked with my kids, work with the other kids, the board members, and you're the ones that get it done every day. So thank you so much. I'm truly humbled just to be sitting here in the presence of such great professionals. So thank you so much, and I think you all deserve a standing ovation for everything. Next on the agenda, we'd like to recognize the 2022 Employees of Distinction. 7 outstanding employees were nominated by their coworkers and selected as employees of distinction based on the following criteria: quality work, innovation, student achievement, people and teamwork, customer service and communication, health and safety, cares for others. So at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Gala to speak on behalf of our special award recipients. Thank you.
Yeah, so these people are all recognized in front of their peers at 2 different Employee of the Year events, but we do want, they're here in the room, so we'd like to recognize them. When I call your name, if you could just come on up to the front of the room. We will not be doing a speech on behalf of each of you, but we want to be able to recognize all of you, let everyone see who you are, and then we'll have you on camera here with Falls Cable Access also. So at the primary elementary level, if I could call up and let's hold our applause till they're all up here. Debbie Burke. At the upper elementary level, Sue Lee. At the middle school level, Jeff Stallenworth. At the high school level, Lisa Kiefer. In the administrative support category, Ellen Keith. For our educational support group, Kristen DeValcanair. And for operation support, Mr. Jeff Butterfield. Again, these were all recognized by their peers, nominated by their peers, just an incredibly gifted, loyal group of employees. Let's have a big hand for our employees.
Yes. So this evening I would like to congratulate the Menomonee Falls High School robotics team for being selected as one of the Falls finest in our district. One of the robotics coaches, I believe Ms. Vicki Bell, is she here? Yes. She's here, and her fine group of students are with us tonight to tell us a little bit about their team and to share some highlights from a recent event that they attended.
Hi, I'm Vicki Bell. I'm a special ed EA at the high school and the Falls Robotics Assistant Coach. We have a team name, it's Arsenal Engineering, so that's what AE stands for. So we have with me 2 mentors, Brian Mcmahon and James Grant, and 2 of our leads, Aiden Bell and Caitlin Grant. They are both juniors, so they will be here with us next year. This is our first year competing since COVID. We did not compete last year. We spent last year kind of as a rebuilding year. We went to Panther Arena during spring break, and we competed with probably about 40 teams in the area, a few teams from Illinois as well. And we spent about a lot of time together. From about beginning of January to competition, we spent every Wednesday night, Thursday night, and basically all day Saturday working together, designing the robot, coding the robot, and most importantly, building the robot. So right now, I'm going to turn it over to Aiden and Caitlin, and they can kind of tell you what they do.
So I'm Aiden Bell. I'm the design lead. So what we do in my design department is we will sit down, we'll discuss with the build team, and come up with ideas to overcome the challenges for the game that first presents with us. And then we will break off. We will CAD using either Autodesk or now we're using a free program called Onshape. And then when we're done, we'll build it.
Hello, so I'm the code team lead, and we mainly code in the programming language Java. Java is taught at the high school in an AP Java course for juniors and seniors, but as we see many freshmen join the robotics team, that provides an early entryway for students to get real-world experience of coding an actual robot. A lot of the coding is basically, if a button is pressed on the controller, make the motor move. But many of the applications we use the process of figuring out how we're going to code it and actually splitting into groups and doing that has been used in the workforce. I myself have a job in coding and I've used a lot of this software. So it really provides students actual experience that they can use in the future if they want to pursue a software engineering career. In addition, our build leads unfortunately couldn't make it, but in the same sense, the build team, they construct the robot using mostly metal from scraps. So taking from design, they have to piece together these parts, and it's less like a course at the high school because you get this actual experience with troubleshooting through how you're going to figure out the process of creating.
So we have 4 teams. We have our code team, our design team, our build team, and our business team. Our business team goes out and gets sponsorships. We get the Optimist Club is one of our biggest sponsors. There's a grant through DPI that we receive. And then Mr. Warner is the head coach. He goes out to different manufacturing companies and tries to get sponsorship as well. They also design our merchandise that we can pass out to other teams at competition. They design our shirts, the shirts that I send out to everybody in the district if they want to purchase spirit wear. They design that. So going off of what Caitlin said, these kids in the club come together and they learn all of this real world experience that they may not get otherwise. So it is a fun club, and we're working on getting more kids involved. And we will be doing a sponsorship event on June 4th. I will be sending out invitations. So if you guys would like to come and see the robot, that would be another good time to come as well. Are there any questions?
Well, I have one question. You explained what the AE means. What is the 6223?
So this is like a nationwide program, and worldwide. Yeah, there are some global teams. It's pretty cool. But so the team started counting from like really low numbers, like 1. And we've gotten to the point of when we joined like 6 years ago as our creating the first team, we're at 6,223. So that's our team number that is like specific to us. And it's amazing to see like when you get teams in the triple digits or even the double digits, because they've been doing this for decades and they have so much experience and their robots are really impressive.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, and congratulations. And yeah, we look all, and I heard you're both juniors, so you have some success to build on. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you guys here a year from now. Great, thanks again for coming. So at this time, we're just going to take a couple minute break. Families, you're free to be excused from the meeting. You're also welcome to stay if you'd like, but we'll give the room a couple minutes to clear out. So normally at this time we would go to our student reports, but we're going to move up one of the action items, the administrator contract approval. We're going to move this up in the interest of time. The administrator contract that we're going to approve is sitting here, and she has another engagement to get to, so we're going to move her to the front of the line. So I hope that works for everybody else. So this is an action item. So I do need a motion to approve the contract for the administrator at North Middle School. The administration recommends the Board of Education approve the 2022-24 individual contract for Terry Kovars to be the administrator at North Middle School. So can I get a motion to approve the contract, please?
I'll make a motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion that is needed? Any comments that anyone would like to make? I'd just like to take a minute and thank Nina and Shelley for taking some time the other afternoon to actually speak with our new administrator live, and thank you for your time there. And I appreciate the feedback that you guys gave. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Great. Motion passes. Thank you. And you're gonna.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for that. We're very happy to have Terry here, and I don't like to steal anyone's thunder, so I'm going to ask her to come up and share a little bit about herself to everyone. And don't worry, in all the days to come, Amy in communications will be working to make sure everybody gets all the information, and Terry will never know just how often her picture will be shared throughout, and her bio will be shared throughout the district. So we're really thrilled to have you and welcoming you aboard.
Thank you guys. I kind of half expected another name to come out for a second there. I'm so excited. I constantly have to pinch myself and be like, it's real, it's really going to happen. So I'm so excited to join the community here at Menomonee Falls. I think my favorite part of today was watching you two look in the crowd like, who is it? I'm currently working at Greenfield High School as an assistant principal. Before that, I worked as an assistant principal at a UW charter school in the middle school setting. I'm really excited to get back to middle school. I love the conversations that I have about learning in middle school. So I'm just really excited about what the future brings and excited to be a part of this community. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for coming tonight, and we're all really excited to have you as well. You come highly recommended. We're very excited to see what the future holds for our middle school. We think you're going to do a great job, and we all look forward to working with you in the future. So thank you again.
Thank you. I promise I won't run away from you again.
That's okay. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you for allowing us to move that forward. So next thing on the agenda are student board members. Ava Sardina and Sahil Shah are going to give their reports, the final report of the year. No pressure.
All right, so I'll start like usual with sports. So the boys tennis team, we finished our dual season and we finished 14-3 as a team, which is one of the best records we've had in the Menomonee Falls boys tennis history. And then today the boys played really well at subsectionals, as 9 out of 10 of us are qualified for sectionals this Wednesday at Cedarburg. Girls soccer is 6-8-1 with a big win on Thursday against Catholic Memorial. They have one more home game this Thursday at 5 against St. Thomas More, then start their playoff campaign next Tuesday at Arrowhead. Girls softball has also had a phenomenal season, as they are 18-5. They start their playoff campaign at home this Thursday against a to-be-determined opponent because they have a bye, as the girls are the #1 seed, which is huge. And then baseball is 13-7 with a big 3-2 win over West Dallas Hale last Thursday. They have three road games this season left this week, and then start their playoff campaign next Tuesday. The bracket has not came out yet for the boys baseball team, but they start their playoffs next Tuesday, and that's all I have.
So seniors, juniors, and teachers were a little bit more tired today than on a typical Monday because senior holiday was Friday and junior prom was Saturday. Junior prom was super fun. It was planned out so well and was just a super enjoyable night, and I heard senior holiday didn't disappoint either. The students are very thankful for the teachers and administrators and the people who plan these events, making it just a very fun night for all the students. Seniors had their senior pennant signing last week, Thursday. The seniors signed and decorated their pennants for their schools or what they plan on doing in the future. They enjoyed lunch from Chick-fil-A and took pictures. Last week, Tuesday and Wednesday, the band had their spring concert, and the Art and Design Academy had their senior showcase on Thursday. Both of these events were in good attendance and just to display the artisticness and creativity of the students at the Falls. And then with the end of the year coming soon, Sophomores and juniors are applying to become 2022-23 link leaders. Seniors are preparing for their last week of high school and finals being next week. And then the NHS has the induction ceremony on Thursday in the auditorium. Lastly, the Falls Pride Committee is having their end of the year block party. This is the first one ever. It is on June 1st at 2:30. The party has music, games, food trucks, and a dunk tank with the teachers in it. So it'll be a very fun event.
That's your teacher.
Thank you for the reports. Thank you so much. All right, next item on the agenda, board members. This is the time that we open it up for you to share anything, comments, anything that you'd like to share that you've been doing in the district.
Start with me. Well, I attended the pennant signing also with Nina, and it was great. The other activities I attended was, well, we saw the art, and it was beautiful. So many talented artists out there. And yet prom, it's been a busy week. It's been a busy month in my household, for sure. The pennant signing was really especially nice because it was a reception celebrating the students where they were heading and where they're heading off to for high school. They signed pennants naming the schools that they will attend next fall. For example, I saw technical colleges, universities where they're heading out to, and even a culinary school. So I thought that was cool. It was a nice thing to do for the seniors to round out the end of their high school years and to celebrate the pinnacle of their school career so far. Parents, students, and teachers work hard for their primary year, through the primary years to high school to get their children to this point, and the ceremony means a lot to the students. When it comes to the primary years, I know the school district has been in the news recently. I will not speak specifically to the issues related to the news, but generally in regards to behavior issues, there seems to be an unfavorable trend in behavior, and it's not just in the Falls, it's in many schools. As a member of this board, it will be my goal to work and assess these issues and problem solve, to address the needs in our schools, whether it's for teacher support, safety in the classrooms, more transparency, and taking a look at our special ed programs. Behavior issues, I think, are something we as a community can solve together. Thank you.
So just a big shout out to head coach Dan Conroy, who coaches middle school track. Really appreciative for him commandeering so many middle school children throughout the whole spring track season. I cannot imagine that's an easy job. I also was able to go to the middle school band concert for the 6th and 7th graders, and boy, it's just fun to watch the kids grow at that age when they're learning an instrument, because they progress so much from that fall concert to the spring. And thank you to our music department, who are always there for kids. I think there's a jazz concert tonight. And finally, I played in the Optimist Golf Outing, and it was reported, I believe, they're giving out $27,000 in scholarships this week at Scholarship Night. So thank you to the Optimist Club, as always, for supporting our schools. Thank you.
I don't have a lot additional to add. I also have children that are in the track and field program, both at the middle school and the high school. So I've been out and about at lots of track meets. Kids have been doing phenomenally. One of my kids had their PR the other night, so their personal record. So that's always fabulous too. And I know many kids get better and better as the season goes on. So been at those tonight, I believe, is the sectional track meet for the high school, and later this week for the middle school is their conference meets as well. So, and I also was at the band concert. The growth in the students is incredible. Again, to bring it back, I have a 6th grader who never played an instrument or read music before in her life, and is now playing five songs in front of a whole crowd of people. So definitely the music department does a wonderful job helping students achieve their goals in music as well.
Yeah, go ahead, Nina.
All right. Well, I attended quite a few
first with the pennant signing. I also attended the Supervised Occupational Experience and Youth Apprenticeship Award ceremony where Corey was also there too. It's actually quite amazing to see these kids juggle their schedule in regards to their school, sports, and log in over 900 hours of work. It's just quite phenomenal. I also, along with actually Chris, we've been actually quite busy, we met with the Quest program directors, and if anybody didn't know what that was, it was or specifically credit deficient program for 11th and 12th grade high school students. And we met with Aaron and Eric. They're amazing individuals in regards to what they do, and they gave us a gist of what the program was about. And they are actually going to be, based on their efforts, 39 students are graduating this year, and Aaron was also able to extend that program to 9th and 10th graders, which is called the RISE program at the high school, which I think we're going to be meeting with Sarah Kozar this week to understand that a little bit more. We're also going to go back and meet the Quest students and just talk to them and see what their input is and what their experience was with the Quest program. I also attended an art exhibit. A shout out to my daughter, who also had her art displayed there also too. And to round out, I was invited to the North Middle School. And I spoke to Sheila, I hope I don't wreck her last name, for George, where she explained about the new AI pilot program, and also to another teacher, Ruth Busalaki. She's a social studies teacher. And she had actually an interview, a virtual interview with a Holocaust survivor. And it actually stemmed from a project that she had in her classroom, reading an autobiography of Mr. Peter Feigl, and he's 93 years old. They realized that he was alive, and so they wrote letters to him. And so he agreed to actually have an interview, and it was quite amazing. And the kids and students were able to take turns and ask him questions. And I wanted to just share one advice that he had that just resonated. And he told the students, and actually I'm going to read this, that an advice that will carry through their entire life is always do the right thing. Everyone knows about what is right and wrong, especially in the midst of public pressure to do the opposite. Always do what is right. I would never be alive today if it wasn't for brave people who did the right thing and helped protect me. So that's also a segue to a comment, again, just piggybacking on what Chris said about recent media, is, again, we can't talk about the details, but as a new board member, I'm going to commit to advocating for students, parents, community members, teachers especially, and my highest priority is about the safety of kids and teachers. So I will promise to listen, engage, and be proactive for any issues that may arise in the future.
Thanks, Neil. Melinda, anything to share?
Yeah, just a couple things I got to do this past week. I got to attend the kindergarten music concert at Ben Franklin, which was adorable. Lots of kids who've never really sung in a structured environment before. So a huge shout out to Mrs. Nordstrom there. She keeps those kids moving and keeps them engaged. I was really impressed with their ability and her ability to keep them engaged. And then on Friday, I got to accompany the 5th grade Riverside students to BizTown, which is always an adventure. They were very excited to learn that they got paid twice in one day. A little sad to find out that doesn't actually happen in reality. But for the most part, they did awesome. They were really committed to taking their job seriously and making sure that they got to have some fun too. So they got to spend some money and do some interactions. Probably the funniest part of the day was when they had to write a check, which was interesting to me because, of course, we're in 2022 and not very often do we all write checks these days. So another parent kind of leaned over and said, are these kids ever going to have to write a check? Well, you never know, but it's a good skill to have. So thank you to the teachers and the administrators who make that trip possible. It's a great learning experience for our kids.
Thanks, Melinda.
No problem.
Okay, actually, I do have an event that I attended last week, Wednesday. I was invited by Corey Gala and also by Richard Wuzencraft to attend the Art Wall ceremony. that took place at the high school, and it was a really fun event. The highlight for me was getting a phone call from Richard Rosencraft, who was my former principal, and I was listening to the message. I didn't know it was him when he called, and for about a half a second I told him this. I said, I thought I was in trouble, and so I was able to reach out to him and have a nice conversation. We had a nice dinner. We got to meet four, I believe it was 4 inductees, right? Was it? And just with great stories, and some of them traveled from really far away out of state just to be a part of this event. So it was really great to hear their story and to hear how inspired they were in attending Menomonee Falls schools. So it's a real testament. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with all the retirees. It's just such a it was a great event to just see how these people were able to develop and to see them come back and to see their names and faces on that art wall. And I also got to hear our student symphony, which I mean was just incredible. I would say if you ever have a chance to hear those kids play, it was great. It was a relaxing, great experience. I was so happy to be able to participate in it. So. And that is it. I'm going to turn it over now to Corey Gallo.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. And yeah, good reminder that at any point, if we need to, we can have Mr. Rosencraft call you. But no, it was a great event. And I don't have the names in front of me, and they're posted on our social media page. But just one example of our Wall of Fame is most of you are familiar with like the rise of snowboarding in the United States and Shaun White and Burton Brand, and the primary photographer probably that took many of the photographs you think of when you think of that era is from Menomonee Falls and is now on that Wall of Fame. Just incredible that person came through here. Lots and lots of events, as everyone mentioned. So kudos to all of our administrators, our teachers, our staff. I mean, we've got bike rodeos going on. We've got elementary music concerts. Pretty much all of our elementary parents cycling through those schools, seeing their kids perform. The Wall of Fame event, the AP art display, just lots of things happening. I want to put a special thanks to the Falls Scholarship Foundation for all of their efforts. This Wednesday night is the Scholarship Foundation event where they will be awarding $500,000 of local money to our graduating seniors. That's $500,000 of money raised here. There's other scholarships if we have any of the military academies. That external money might also be recognized there, but just an incredible group. That event starts at 6:30 in our auditorium. I thanked all of those folks, but I really want to give a special shout out to the high school administrative team and their folks who support them for those events that Ava mentioned, that we had Monday or Friday night, the senior holiday, and then our prom is a special event here. I have, since I arrived here, referred to it as maybe the safest prom in America. Those students arrive at our high school at 4 for Grand March. They take a bus to prom at Silver Spring. They eat dinner, they dance, they take a bus down to Action Sports in Kenosha. They are with our team from essentially about 4 in the afternoon until 4 in the morning. And I'd say it if he was here, like Bob Vitale he's getting up there in years like I am. That's a long, a long day, and he did that after that other event. So his wife said she had to pry him out of bed on Sunday. Want to also just a quick sort of note of business, and really a nice challenge we have. As you can hear, we've had a lot of board members going to a lot of events, and this week we worked with our attorney on our posting requirements, and we are, under his advice, able to make a change to that we're not going to be required to post a possible quorum for student events. So the way they're interpreting that is that's part of your role, and it could be expected that you'll be at events, and sometimes we might have more than 3 board members at an event, and we're not doing board business there. You're not there for the purpose of board discussions, so those won't have to be posted. I noticed Kim was really kind of running ragged because we had all these events and she's trying to track that, and I just said this seems to be a better way to do that. So that'll be a nice improvement for us, and that allows you to all to just go to as many events as you can go to. It's great for our kids, great for you to be that connected. So thanks for that. And then the last thing I'll just say is recently I had the opportunity to talk to our Career Academy, our 2 Career Academy classes. to talk about my own career path with future educators, and it was just refreshing to see the passion they have for the field and respond to their questions about roles I've held over my 20-plus years in education. And it just reminded me of the importance of our own succession planning and how much I appreciate this opportunity that we provide our kids who are potential future educators to essentially grow our own pipeline, because as we know, a lot of our teachers that work here are from here and they live here now. So the more we can connect with those students, grow that passion. So it's the second year of enrollment in that academy. It's growing quickly, and it's just a great opportunity. So thanks for supporting that. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you, Corey. Next item on the agenda are committee reports. Policy, Nina Christensen.
The next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 9th at 4:30 at Village Hall, upper level conference room, 3344 and 45. Mr. Denning and I have actually met several times, so I have until July to milk him for all of his knowledge and expertise, so I'm going to try to utilize that as much as possible. So he and I have actually been discussing a strategy in regards to revising the policies, because it was understood that it's on a 5-year cycle, so we're actually going to have a structured way of setting up a calendar, and it's designing like essentially like a framework for scheduling policies to be revised or implemented. And so that's something that I think we're going to connect with committee chairs and also administration, and then have like kind of like a live working calendar to go ahead and do that. And I think that hopefully would set up a framework for going forward, and be able to know ahead of time, 6 months or so, as to what policies will be addressed. So I think that would be helpful. So to be continued. We're just in early stages. That's it.
Thanks, Nina. Next, curriculum and learning, Carrie Dews.
Hold on, were there minutes from the meeting? Or was there not a meeting? Because we had a policy meeting, right?
Oh, yeah, policy minutes. Yes.
So does Nina need to report on her minutes from the policy meeting?
Yeah, did you get a copy of the minutes? Sure.
Are we ready to have minutes yet, or do we need to push that out to the next week?
Let's push that. Yeah, push that.
Okay, all right, happy to go. All right, so curriculum and learning has not met, so there's no report. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 1st at 6 p.m. in the Menomonee Falls High School Library and Media Center. I also just want to make a quick comment that with Dr. Blahowiak's resignation, we're reforming the Human Growth and Development Committee in the fall when a new curriculum director is hired. So just so the community has that information. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Next, finance and auxiliary services, Jennifer Grant.
Finance and Auxiliary Services has not met yet. Our next meeting is this Thursday, May 26th at 2 p.m. in the Village Hall upper level conference room.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next is personnel. Personnel has not yet met, so there is no report, and our next meeting is to be determined. I imagine we will be having quite a few of them in the foreseeable future, so we will keep you updated on those. And lastly, communications, Melinda McShane.
Communications has not met, but we do need to schedule meetings soon, so we'll get together on an email for that.
Great, thanks, Melinda. All right, next up, discussion items. Mr. Jeff Nenning.
Good evening. We have several policies tonight. I'll start out with policy 121, school district legal status. You'll find tonight that most of these are short policies with many stylistic changes, not many, but several stylistic changes, and some updates on language. In this particular policy, this is a policy about how we're organized as a system. It doesn't include all different programs that we have, but it's just a basic structure. And so there's been some corrections so that we would call it now elementary lower, which is grades 4K through 2, elementary upper, grades 3 through 5, and then middle school is there. There's no change there. The high school, we changed that to high school instead of secondary grades 9 through 12. There's a change also to say superintendent / designee. If there's other, establish other special classrooms or programs as necessary, which you heard about some of them tonight.
Great. And it looks like the last time this policy was revised was 2012, so
Yes.
So we're getting there, we're getting on track. Is there any questions, any further discussion? Anybody have any questions for Jeff on this? Pretty straightforward. Okay, move on to the next one.
Okay, the next one is policy 132, Board of Education member resignation / removal from office. The committee looked at this, the policy committee, and there was a recommendation to be more specific, especially in the first sentence, and use the language that we use with other policies where we use the shall. So it was basically a resignation from the board member shall, and then goes on and talks about the circumstances of how that would transpire for notification purposes. And then I guess one other note was in that same first paragraph, there's a simple change, but we had a discussion about it. It made sense after the discussion where it said the resignation to the board president, a letter would be sent to the, of resignation to the board president. It used to read and or superintendent / superintendent, and the committee changed it to the board president and the superintendent. And the case cited in my notes was that if the board president resigned, they wouldn't send it to themselves. Right? So, and those are the changes in that particular policy.
That makes sense. Any questions, Mr. Nenning, on this? Further discussion? No. All right.
The next policy is policy 172, special meetings. Again, similar type of changes. This is a special meeting, is something outside of the regular board meeting that might be called by the board members. And so this is where it explains how any board member shall be able to file a written request for a special meeting with the board. And then there's some language then about, in the second paragraph, around how other board members would be notified. There's a few circumstances that could happen around that. And it indicates the superintendent shall be responsible for providing a written notice in certain cases, as you can see. And then if everybody is there talking about that we're going to have a special meeting, there's no really need for a notice to all board members, because they're already knowing there's a meeting coming. So those were the changes.
Any questions, comments on this policy? Okay.
Okay. The next one is policy 174, Board of Education organizational meetings. Sometimes the board has what we are known as work sessions for informational purposes, to learn about things, discuss things, but not make decisions. This is, in our district, in the policy, it used to call them workshop sessions, but the language that has been in practice is work sessions. So we just changed that. And then also we just clarified that public notices will be given for these work sessions as well.
Great. Any questions, comments on this one? All right.
Okay. The next one is policy 181, about rules of order. And the board uses the Robert Rules of Order that is indicated, and it was indicated in the policy. We just did mainly a stylistic change that the Board of Education shall conduct business using parliamentary procedures. And then it goes on to talk about what that is, where there's a formal motion, second, and discussion. And then they also talked about the voice vote is normally done unless there's a roll call vote requested. And we had it request, any board member could request a roll call vote, where each board member would have to voice individually their yea or nay, or abstain.
Great. Any further discussion on this? Comments? No?
All right, the last one is voting method. There were just two minor changes, and both were stylistic on the voting method. You can see there in your copy, in our style guide, we don't use president, we use board president. And so those are the two changes where it's indicated president, we added the word board in front of that word. That was the only change.
Great.
I have a question about this one, Jeff,
Yes.
because we took a secret ballot when we had to appoint a board member, when we had a resignation. So does that still work under this policy? Just looking at the last sentence here.
Let me follow up with the statute and make sure that's accurate. I think it would be. I did look at these statutes, or I think the statute 19.8, but I can't recall if I looked at any of this group here. Let me get confirmation on that.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So we'll move these for action in the next school board meeting, pending, and then Jeff, just let me know on this particular policy if that's good to go for action for the next board meeting. Okay. I think that was it, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Thank
you, Jeff. Appreciate it. Okay. All right, on to action items. So the first action item is to approve the school board meeting calendar for 2022, 2023. Motion correct. I need a motion to approve the 2022-2023 school board meeting calendar with an adjusted start time of 6:30 p.m. For the school board meetings. I need a motion.
I'll motion.
In a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion needed for this? Is this, everybody good on this? I know we had talked about it individually. I think I've spoken to almost every one of you about that. So I appreciate your guys' willingness to move it a little later. I promised Melinda that I would keep the meetings moving so we weren't stuck here too late. And so I appreciate that. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Great. Motion passes. All right, so this next one's going to be a little tricky. So the next item on the agenda is I need to get approval of the policy committee minutes. This is so basically what happened, a little background is that I am the only remaining member of that policy committee still active on the board. So therefore I'm asking the board to help me approve these minutes so we can get this agenda passed. And I have read the minutes. They are accurate. You know, if you have problems with it, you can obviously abstain. But I did read them and they are accurate. So I need a motion to approve the March 16th, 2022 Policy Committee minutes. Thank you, Melinda. And can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jennifer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? Thank you. I appreciate you guys doing that. We are going to, on a side note, we were going to have some foresight next year to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So I appreciate you guys going ahead with that motion. Thanks. Let's see, we already did the administrator contract. So that takes us to vouchers payable. I'm not sure who is on that.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
so
that's gonna be
the
Jeff.
finance committee hasn't met, and as the treasurer, I took the liberty of reviewing the vouchers payable. So I would make a motion to approve vouchers payable through May 19th, 2022 in the amount of $491,592.40. I'll approve.
You can second.
You can second. Second it. Thank you.
Thank you. Some highlights you want to share?
As I reviewed, there was about 60 pages worth of invoices to be approved. Some of the things that I noticed, we made our liability insurance renewal payments. Looks like some new
bass clarinets were purchased for the music department. Lots of sports officials and referee fees, all the things you'd expect, like food service, utilities, substitute teachers, playground upgrades and repairs, and it looks like we're moving rapidly forward with the design and planning for the high school culinary lab. So very exciting there as well. So that's what I have to report.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Right, last action item is our consent agenda minutes approval. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Education meeting on May 9th, 2022, and for the closed session meeting on May 9th, 2022, and the closed session meeting on May 19th, 2022.
I think we're going to have to break them up because I'm going to have to abstain on the 19th. So can we do the motion for both the minutes on the 9th and then the separate motion on the 19th?
Yes. Okay. Do I have to, because I started the action, do I have to?
You're just going to redo it.
Redo it.
Start with motion to approve.
Okay, because we didn't get the motion. Thanks, Barry, for catching that. Okay, so I need a motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Education meeting on May 9th, 2022, and the closed session meeting on May 9th, 2022.
I'll move to approve.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, that passes. And next, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Education closed session meeting on May 19th, 2022.
I'll motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And abstain?
Yes.
So Carrie Hughes, just for the minutes, abstain from that vote, and that passes. Thank you. Okay, at this time we are going to invite any questions or statements from the audience. I believe we only have two for tonight. The first one is Kevin Briggs.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to start out and say how proud I am to be a Falls resident. I love our schools, I love our teachers and principals. My children excelled in this district and love going to school here. What I don't love is the failure of the previous administration. There's plenty of things to complain about, a few stick out, and that's why such a strong parent revolution in the last election cycle. The previous administration made it a priority to change our long herald nickname, with 70 to 80% of the community approved of because of a political agenda that was not welcome in our community. That was a warning sign of things to come. The previous administration decided to mask our children for far too long because they were following the signage, even though it was long known kids didn't spread or react badly to COVID. Now we are here. So even think the previous administration would cover up the things that are alleged is absolutely maddening. In the most confusing and unknown time we had during COVID, we failed our teachers, our principals, and all the community of Menomonee Falls. It is now time to right the wrongs the previous administration has done, and frankly, good damn luck to Wauwatosa, you won't be missed.
That. And then I believe we had an electronic form, Leah, is that correct?
Yes.
I don't have the name of
Yep,
it.
I'm sorry.
Tina Stringfellow?
Hello, thank you for allowing me to speak in front of the board. Very glad for all of the retirement and happy wishes that you guys were able to celebrate. Sadly, I have a different side of the story to tell. I am not speaking here for myself. I have no dog in this fight. I don't work here anymore, but I do live here, and I do have a vested interest in these last 4 years of my son's education. And I definitely have a vested interest in America's future, which is directly dependent on the teaching profession. You won. You are all still working here, and I left. You all still get to work with children, while I have utterly lost the capacity to teach from the trauma I faced. Please understand, I am not here out of vindictiveness. I have no desire to litigate, only to educate, and in this way serve the district one last time. The events I shared with Dan O'Donnell were not shared to disgrace the district. September 24th was the straw that broke the camel's back. After decades of giving so much, there was no way I could allow the district to take away my sense of personal safety. No one will ever take that from me again. My story is so much more than just that day. My concerns with the school district of Menomonee Falls go all the way back to the inception of my teaching career 20 years ago. I am grateful for my career in Menomonee Falls. My life is forever changed by this place and by the people I have encountered here. The Falls have given me everything I ever knew about teaching, and it has taken it all away. How dare you do that? How dare you create a culture that makes the system stronger than the voice of the people it is supposed to serve? The people we surround ourselves with are just as important as the work we do alongside them. People run systems. Systems should not run people. The systems in district office run like a hive of misplaced power, a nest that nurtures district darlings who can do no wrong while others face abuse in this elitist class system by those who hold favor, creating rules for thee, but not for me. Failures must be faced, for they are the greatest teacher. When the importance of your image supersedes the integrity of your work, there is nothing left to say except, you're wrong. I can leave here with peace of mind knowing that this new board values intellectual diversity, considers different perspectives, and sees strength of character over popular choice, and that they will hire people who are made of this stuff to safeguard the future of our schools. The few minutes you have granted me here are but a whisper on a scream. I wanted to describe all the many details of why I left Menomonee Falls as I did, so unlike myself, unplanned and dumbstruck, how the instances I faced of dishonesty, unfairness, and lack of accountability have inverted my sense of justice with this place. But I need far more than 3 minutes to do that, so please check your email later. Know this, it is time to audit the past before you make decisions about the future. The Roman poet Ovid is quoted as saying, "Perfer et obdura, dolor hic tibi, prolerit olim." Be patient and tough. One day this pain will be useful to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Please let us, thank you. All right, the last item on our agenda, our future board agenda items. Is there any future board agenda items that anyone would like to bring forward at this time? Nina?
I think we talked about that before, separately, Eric, is to be instrumental and try to schedule some sort of like listening sessions with staff.
Okay.
And teachers, and also too, I think this was also discussed with the board previously too, but actually now put into action is assigning a board member to a school.
Yes.
I'm more than happy to put that like work.
Okay.
That would be important for us to actually
Great. We'll put that on future agenda item then. Anyone else?
Also, Eric, excuse me, I like the idea of like, yeah, listening sessions and assigning board members to schools. But I saw on the list, I think it was through the school district, a discussion on special ed and just kind of keeping that on the radar, maybe once we have a director,
Yeah.
maybe towards fall. And then also, I don't know, don't know how all this works, but discussion on discipline, behavior, just to keep it in mind.
Great. Thank you, Chris.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Okay, last thing we need is a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very much.